Hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Rangers, and I'm here to talk about Game 28 of the regular season, where the Rangers win 5-1 over the Las Vegas Golden Knights, and oh boy, that one felt real good. This was a weird game, because in the first period and the third period, the Rangers looked like far and away the better team. They looked amazing, and there was the second period blip of awful to just displace that, but overall this was a really, really good game for the Rangers. And you talk about the good part, the first period, the Rangers get on the board first. First line, the new and improved first line, we'll talk about that in a bit. On the ice, Trouba has it behind the net, passes it out for Miller along the blue line, he takes a shot on net, and Capo Caco. Holy crap, that was a really, really nice tip. Full extension with the stick in his arms, getting over to it and tips it on home, and the Rangers have a 1-0 lead relatively early in this game. The Rangers, again, they were great for 40 minutes of this game, and then there's that shame about the 20 minutes in the middle that kind of soiled it overall from being just a near perfect performance. But shots after one were 15-5 in favor of New York. But tale of two periods, second one comes, and Vegas would end up tying the game, and they look really good in the second period. They came storming back a bit. Shots were 17-11 in favor of Vegas. I don't think that paints the perfect picture, because I thought they looked a little bit better than that. I don't know where the 11 shots came from for the Rangers. Vegas would get a goal in this game. The only goal that Igor allowed was a 5-on-3 power play for Vegas. Now, the first call, which was on Trocheck for tripping, I thought was weak. And then the cross-check call for Lindgren was just a dumb penalty that did not need to be taken at all. Mark Stone wasn't like jabbing at Igor where you go, yes, I need to go defend my goaltender. That was just a dumb penalty to give them a 5-on-3 power play and then result in them getting a goal. Obviously, I'm not going to be very upset with Igor Shesterkin because that was just a beautiful pass and it was a 5-on-3 power play. There's enough said there. Now, obviously, had the first penalty not been called, the cross-check probably doesn't happen, and blah, 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 butterfly effect, I don't care. I thought it was a weak call on Trocheck. I thought the Lindgren penalty was fair. That being said, I also thought there was a super, bad call in the third period where the Rangers kind of got a freebie. It was, which one was the tripping? Shea Theodore against Philip Hedl. I thought that was a super weak call. So, I disagree with some of the calls, but I thought it was a very, evenly called game. I didn't think officiating was bad. I thought it was very consistent. But the shame about the first period leading into the second one for the Rangers was they looked so great in the first period, but only getting the one goal out of it sucks because now all of a sudden it's a tie game going into the third, and then holy crap, they came storming back. 4-goal third period for the New York Rangers. First one comes on the power play. Mika Zibanejad just fed a perfect puck from Artemi Panarin, blasts it home, his 14th of the year, not the only goal he would get tonight. He had a 3-point night for Mika Zibanejad, not too shabby, and it's a 2-1 Rangers lead. Rangers' third goal, beautiful play to start it, pick in the pocket of Zach Whitecloud. Philip Hedl, really, really nice stick lift. Artemi Panarin gets it. He clears it to Barclay Goodrow, cruises in, and a gorgeous saucer pass back to the man who started the play. Philip Hedl scores, and it's a 3-1 Rangers lead. Not even 30 seconds after it was a 2-1 lead. To me personally, the fourth goal was the one that made me realize they are back to a good headspace. Long, sustained pressure in the offensive zone from the first line. They're going along the boards. It's Kakko to Mika to Laffy. Gives it to Adam Fox. Beautiful pass east to west over to Mika Zibanejad. And he fans on the shot. And I find that very important because last week, with a tighter grip on the sticks, trying to make anything happen, he just panics, tries to take some bad shot on net, but he doesn't. He calmly collects the puck. Another nice west to east pass this time over to Alexis Lafreniere. Has the puck, and he didn't receive it perfectly, but gets it to his stick, waits, fires, and scores to make it a 4-1 lead for the Rangers. That was the one that made me go, okay, they're back. And a little over halfway through the period, Mika Zibanejad on the power play again with a slapper, once again teed up from Artemi Panarin, blasts it home. It's 5-1 Rangers. Oh, by God, that was a good one. So we'll start with the defensive pairs. They were back to the normal arrangements. Miller and Trouba, Fox and Lindgren, and Schneider and Hayek. I actually thought the defense played pretty darn well tonight. The second period wasn't great, but overall, I thought the defense did a really, really good job. And yeah, second period wasn't wonderful, but to go in there and in the first period only allow Vegas to get 5 shots on net, and in a third period in a tight game to start with, only allowed them to get 4. That was a really nice job to start and cap a game against a great Vegas team. So I was very happy with the defense. And Shesterkin in the second period kept them in it. Made some really, really nice saves in the second period. The only knock you could have made against the game a couple nights ago for Shesterkin was, yeah, they won and it was important and good to get feeling good about yourselves. But, Shesterkin allowed 4 goals. He only allowed 1 tonight in hostile territory against a great team. Beautiful game from Igor Shesterkin, and more or less overall from the defense. And the lines got shook up a little bit because the first line is brand new, and it was Lafreniere, Zibanejad, and Kakko. Almost like we've been begging for that for like a year. And it was amazing. It was everything we could have hoped for. Lafreniere and Kakko both potted goals. They were amazing offensively. They drove play to the other end the entire time that line was on the ice. An expected goal against for that line being on the ice, 0.021. They were amazing. And the second line was also a little bit different because it was Panarin, Gaudreau, and Hedl. And I gotta say, I thought they were fantastic. I loved the second line. The top 6 tonight were, I mean, about as perfect as you could hope for. I would not move them around for a good long while. I would let that ride as long as you could. Now, that's all awesome, but that does kind of bring you to this unfortunate reality about the third line, because the rejects from the first 2 boy bands now are all on the third line together. And so the third line tonight was VC, Trocheck, and Kreider. And they weren't terrible. They weren't bad. They're fine in our own zone, but they clearly do not look comfortable with each other. Hopefully they can build chemistry, because I truly think this is going to be the third line for the foreseeable future, and I don't want the entire bottom 6 being the shutdown lines. I would very much like the third line to have some offensive ability, especially with the fact that you have 2 players that are making over $5.5 million, or 5.6 actually, because Trocheck was the big acquisition of the offseason at 5.6 a year for like 5 years, I'd like to remind everyone, and Kreider's making 6.5. So you got like $12 million and 2 players on the third line, and you'd really like them to be good. And the third line was Blais, Brodzinski, and Gauthier. I have no problem with that. It was perfectly fine. I mentioned it a little bit in this video, but I really want to hammer it home because I think it's all important. The Rangers, a couple of nights ago against the St. Louis Blues, had a very important win, and I think everything I said about that game is true. I stand by everything. It was a very important game to win. I thought it was a good type of game to win, where you face adversity and lead changes and deficits and yada, yada, yada. I thought that was a very, very good thing to have happen. That being said, it was still a bit of a mess overall, ending 6-4, and Igor was not wonderful. The defense gave up some not great chances, and the offense had a couple of lucky goals. But overall, I still think it was a very, very important game to win and for it to happen that way. But going into this game, I think a lot of Rangers fans, myself included, were not that confident, because that is a subpar to straight up bad St. Louis Blues team, and this is one of the best teams in the NHL. Debatably the best team, easily the best team in the Western Conference. And you're going on the road to play there, you're probably going to get killed. But the Rangers completely flipped the script. They went into their house and they kicked them up and down the ice. They looked great. The offense was amazing. The defense, aside from a little blip in the second period, was really, really good. Igor Shesterkin had a gem. This was amazing. It was one of the most complete games the Rangers have played this season. It was one of the most dominant. The win against St. Louis was a game where the Rangers could take a deep breath, look themselves in the mirror, and say, okay, we're back. This was a game where the Rangers loudly and proudly to the entire NHL said, we are back. And the good news keeps on rolling for the New York Rangers, because on Friday night, you get to go to Colorado and play an Abs team that has been injured to hell and is sporting a top 6 of Alex Newhook, Mikko Rantanen, Charles Hudon, Andrew Cagliano, JT Comper, and Logan O'Connor. So you kind of got to feel good about that. That game is at 9 o'clock on Friday night in Colorado, and I'll be here afterwards to talk about it. But for right now, that is all I have. So if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day, and as always, go Rangers.